Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, and today we're talking about playoffs. It's absolutely right here. How can the Cowboys win the NFC East or even maybe make it into the Wild Card? Here's where things currently stand in the NFC. The Niners have the number 1 seed, Packers the number 2, the Saints the 3, and for now, the Cowboys have the lead over the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East. Then it's the Seahawks, Vikings getting the way in the Wild Card, with the Rams, Eagles, Panthers, and technically speaking, the Bears and Lions also still in the mix. But of course, we're focused in on the Dallas Cowboys. They have a almost 1.5 game lead because they have the head-to-head win for now over the Philadelphia Eagles. Their schedule is tough the rest of the way. Not as tough as we thought it was going to be. Yes, the Patriots, that's going to be a tough game at home or on the road. The Bills come for Thanksgiving. They're a bit better than we thought. But the Bears have not been the same team we saw last year. Frankly, they've been pretty mediocre so far this year with really bad quarterback play and just a pretty putrid offense overall. Then it's the Rams. They're not as good as we thought. Heck, the Eagles, Cowboys already beat them, although that game is on the road. And that Week 16 matchup, pay special attention to it. In all likelihood, that is going to be the game that decides whether or not the Cowboys or the Eagles win the NFC East. It is going to be a close matchup. I'm very fascinated to see how it goes down. It's not going to be easy for Dallas. Going on the road, it's not simple. Then, of course, Week 17 against the Redskins, which may or may not have impact on the Cowboys' finish. There's a decent chance they beat the Eagles in Week 16 and are locked in to the number 4 seed in the NFC East. So that game might not have much impact at all. But everyone in the comments, what will be the Cowboys' record this year? I've had 10-6 for a while, but what are you guys thinking? Let me know, so go down there and comment. If you're watching on YouTube, you might get an ad break here, but while that's happening, just scroll on down and type your answer. Predict the Cowboys' record this season. All right, moving on now to where things currently stand in the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys, as you all know, lead the way. They're 6-4 right now, a 1-game lead over the Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants and the Redskins are technically still alive. They are 2-8 and 1-9, but they're not going to win the NFC East. There's just absolutely no way. There are some NFC East title odds out from our friends over at BetDSI, and it's very clearly a 2-team race. Now, if you want to go waste your money, I recommend betting on the Giants or the Redskins. That's not it. Big reward. It's not going to happen. The Cowboys are currently the betting favorite. And to be quite honest, folks, I've never been more confident in the Cowboys' chances. Do you know why? Because it's minus 169. That's the perfect odds. It's very nice right there. So I feel good about it. Go bet on the Cowboys on BetDSI. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. It gets you a 120% deposit bonus. So you put down $50, they're going to give you an extra $60 for free. Put down $100, there's an extra $120 coming your way. So even if you're wrong about a bet here or there, you got plenty of money to make it all back in. You guys are smart. I think you'll make good bettors. It's chatsports.com/bet. That promo code, once again, Cowboys120. Now this week, the Cowboys on the road are a 6.5-point underdog against the New England Patriots, which really shouldn't be much of a surprise. The Patriots, turns out they're really good at football. The Cowboys, I think, are good, but they're not quite at the Patriots level. It is a home game for New England, which typically they don't end up losing. Now, this one I am not assuming is going to be a win for the Cowboys. It would be a big one. If the Cowboys can pick up the upset win here, maybe this is their Saints game from last year where they kind of surprised, pulled the upset, and a win over the Patriots would be huge for the Cowboys, especially with potential tiebreakers coming up against the Eagles, who lost the Patriots. So hopefully the Cowboys are able to pull this one out and get the W. I'm not overly confident in it. We'll see what they end up doing. You guys can throw in your score predictions in the comments section for me. It's going to be a tough game for the Cowboys. On the road, a Patriots team that likes to run the football. That's a problem for the Cowboys because so far they haven't really been able to stop the run, at least not consistently so far this year. So everyone in the comments, predict the score. Cowboys at the Patriots. I'm going to hold off on my prediction. Stay tuned. Later on in the week, we'll have a more in-depth preview, and I'll make my prediction then, when Mick comes around on the Cowboys Report. The only NFC East threat right now for the Cowboys, because the Giants and Redskins are a joke this year, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they have not been as good as I expected this year. I think really as everyone expected this year, except, unless you really hate the Eagles and you just wish ill will upon them, which, I get it. But they remain the biggest threat the Cowboys have for the playoffs. In all reality, we'll break the wild card stuff down in a second. It's a tough path. The easiest and best path for the Cowboys is to win the NFC East, and that means the Eagles stand in your way. They're 5-5 right now, but their schedule, end of season, sets up really, really well. Here's what it is the rest of the way. Week 12 against Seattle. More on that game coming up in a second. Week 13 against a terrible Dolphins team. Week 14, home against the Giants. Week 15 at a terrible Washington team. Week 16, mentioned that one before, it's a big one against the Cowboys. And Week 17, back against the New York Giants. They're probably going to win 4 of those games, guys. That's the reality. And now the Cowboys can take care of their own business. But if you're a Cowboys fan, we cheered for the Patriots last week, as painful as that was. This weekend, we are all Seahawks fans. The Cowboys really could use some help here from Seattle. Now, yes, Seattle is a wild card contender, but the NFC East matters more. The Eagles are a home favorite by just 1.5 points against the Seattle Seahawks. They couldn't get it done against the Patriots. Philadelphia, even if they fall to 5-6, they very well could win out the rest of the way. So that's a legit possibility. So if you're the Cowboys, you better hope that the Eagles lose this one to give yourself just a little bit of extra room in case you do lose at Philadelphia. But that schedule, it sets up really well for Philadelphia the rest of the way. So how many games will the Eagles win this year? I'm going to say 9-7 because I'm going to hope the Cowboys take down Philadelphia on the road in Week 16. But 9-7, that's pretty close to their floor, I think. I mean, even if you lose to Seattle and the Cowboys, are you going to drop games against the Redskins, Dolphins, and Giants? I don't think that's the most realistic outcome. So if the Eagles go 9-7, that means the Cowboys really need to find a way to go 10-6, especially with that head-to-head coming up. Now, a reminder, this is your current playoff picture. We mentioned how the NFC East is what really matters here, and that's the easiest path. There is, however, a path to the wild card. The problem is it's tough and not easy. It's frankly a bit unlikely. The path to the playoffs for the Cowboys in the wild card is really going 10-6 and still not winning the NFC East, which means you drop 2 games, Eagles maybe finish 11-5, maybe the Eagles win out. In that scenario, the Dallas Cowboys need help from a variety of teams. Multiple teams have to kind of collapse down the stretch in order for this to happen. Winning the NFC East, bar none, is the easiest and best path for the Cowboys to the postseason. Now, that Seahawks game Week 12, maybe things change in terms of Seattle, cheering for them. If Seattle drops a game against Philadelphia, maybe you want to change your tune and hope that they go 9-7, which would mean losses down the stretch to teams like Minnesota and the Rams, both teams also in the playoff picture. Now, that means they win 1 game down the stretch, which is maybe plausible, but Panthers, Cardinals, Niners, they might be favored in all of those games. And even if the Seahawks collapse, that means the Niners Week 17 don't have much to play for. So Seattle, in all likelihood, I'm banking on them winning games and being the 5th team in the wild card. That's your best path. Minnesota, meanwhile, is the team the Cowboys should be hoping loses a bunch of games if they're going to get into the wild card. The problem is the Cowboys are not going to win any head-to-heads because they've already lost to the Vikings earlier this year. That means probably need Minnesota to finish the year 9-7. They're already 8-3. I don't know if they're going to go 1-4 down the stretch. Seattle's a tough game. You cheer for Seattle in that one. Packers, that's going to be a tough one, but you still got games against the Lions, at the Chargers, home against Chicago. I see at least 2 wins there. I think 10-6 is way more likely for Minnesota, which puts the Cowboys, this is why it's unlikely, in a really tough path for the playoff picture in the NFC Wild Card. Now, the Rams, meanwhile, they are a team that I'm not overly concerned about because of a head-to-head. They got the game against the Baltimore Ravens, Cardinals, Seahawks, but then it's Week 15 against the Dallas Cowboys. as long as the Cowboys win that game, which to be in the wild card race you have to win anyway, all of a sudden that puts the Rams, ignoring the first couple of games, they've got 5 losses then. They have to add one more down the stretch. I think that will happen, be it against the Niners or even the Seahawks before that. So the Rams I'm not too worried about in terms of the wild card race. It's Minnesota far more. I'll also make note here of the Carolina Panthers. They're a pretty big long shot either way. Week 12 at the Saints, Week 13 at the Redskins, the Falcons. Maybe not the toughest stretch, but also Seattle, Colts, and the Saints. They're 5-5 right now. They'd have to put on a pretty big run to end the year. I don't have that type of faith in Kyle Allen. So for the Panthers, I will make note of them. But when it comes down to the wild card race, it's really about the Seahawks and the Vikings. And I don't trust the Cowboys to get past those two teams, especially not Minnesota, having already had the head-to-head, and because we want the Seahawks to beat the Eagles anyway. I got a deal for you guys. Pay attention here so I can hook you guys up. I have found a bunch of Cowboys jerseys on sale, way cheaper than they normally are. Head over to chatsports.com/Cowboys jerseys. Check the jersey, Cowboys jersey. Check the description. I got the link in there for you guys. We got Dak Prescott jerseys, Zeke Elliott jerseys on sale. I found all these Cowboys jerseys that are 25% off. Now, heck, Amari Cooper as well. So if you want a Cowboys jersey this holiday season, I got you guys covered. Go check it out, chatsports.com/Cowboys jersey. Check the description, check the comments. I got the link for you guys in there, so go scroll on down, hooking you guys up this holiday season. Now, in the meantime, speaking of holiday cheer, get it? Get it? Here's who you should cheer for. Everyone's booing me in the office. You guys are mean. Here's who you guys should cheer for this week. Panthers at the Saints. I know the Saints could have an impact in terms of seeding, but you're already 2 games back and you've lost the head-to-head. I'm going to prioritize the wild card race instead. Therefore, cheer for the Saints. All right? I know that's a bit awkward because the Saints are ahead of you, but you're probably not going to catch them. So I've moved on from it. All right, the Seahawks, Eagles. You got to cheer for Seattle. I know wild card implications are a factor here. NFC East matters way more. I need the Eagles to drop at least one more game. Otherwise, if the Eagles win this one, you're in trouble, especially if you lose to the Patriots. So I am cheering hard for Seattle. That's all going to come down to Week 16 anyway, but go Seahawks in this one. All right, this one, Packers, Niners, both these teams at the top. Cheer for whoever you feel like. It doesn't really matter. Maybe you would rather have the Niners win to help out the Packers in terms of seeding, but again, head-to-head, it's not great for the Cowboys here. Cheer for whoever you want. Probably doesn't impact it in the end. And finally, Ravens at the Rams, Monday Night Football. Pro tip, watch the game on mute because Booger's terrible, but just watch the game on mute and cheer for the Ravens. You want the Rams to drop another game. That way, maybe they're reeling, maybe they're out of the playoff mix altogether, or at least a win puts them behind you significantly and probably for good once you play them head-to-head. Of course, the whole point of playoffs is to make it to the Super Bowl. So if you're talking about the Super Bowl chances, let's take a look at the BetDSI odds for Super Bowl 50 for the top 5 here. Patriots, Ravens, Saints, Niners, and Chiefs. And then you get to the second page here. The Packers, Vikings, Seahawks. There are your Dallas Cowboys all the way down at plus 2,000. They are ahead of Philadelphia, plus 700, which makes sense because the Cowboys, after all, are still favored to win the NFC East. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.